I decided to do something different today. One of my favorite writers, authors, is Joyce Rupp, who uses her life experiences to reflect on how God is ever present in our daily routines and experiences of life, in order that those who read her works will also be able to have a deeper awareness of God as we go about our daily lives. So the Road of Life is her reflection that she wrote for the month of January about new beginnings. And she equates the metaphor of a road to our journey. As we look back at 2022, we can see how God has been with us in our ups and downs of life, guiding, comforting, encouraging us in the easy days filled with faith, hope, and joy, as well as those days when our minds and spirits were filled with fear or hopelessness and worry. And now as we move into 2023, may we, as Joyce Rupp says, trust that on this road we will come to greater wholeness and transformation. Joyce begins with a quote from Jeremiah 6, verse 16. Stand at the crossroads and look. Ask for the ancient paths. Which was the good way? Take it, and you will find rest for yourselves. Our life is a journey. We are always on the road. Each time another January greets us, we have an opportunity to pause, to see where we have been, to notice how far we have come, and to ponder how that journey has been for us. Each new year is also a time to clear our vision, to take stock of our resources, and to refresh our dreams as we set out once more on the journey that is ours. As I recall the many Januaries of my life, I see how differently I've entered each new year. Sometimes I have been exhausted on the road, worn out and weary. I almost dreaded another year because of my great tiredness. At other times, I rushed into the new year with enthusiasm and eagerness, excited about the possibilities for growth and happiness. There have been Januaries when I've begun the journey full of pain and heartache, and with tears in my heart. Or I've walked into the new year filled with worry and anxiety over struggles and problems that loom large on the horizon. I can also remember meeting New Year's with deep contentment and peace of heart, full of gratitude for a year gone by that was so full of wonderful events and growth. No two Januaries are ever the same. The new year is always unique. We may feel stuck in a rut, facing a dead end, or caught up in a very ordinary pattern of life. Yet if we pause to look deeper, to examine our life more closely, we will see that many people and events called us to grow. The beginning of the new year is a good time to get out our roadmaps of life. We can gain wisdom by looking at the places of our hearts where we have traveled during the past year. As we look back over the journey, it is helpful to identify the places that blessed us, affirmed us, enlivened us, and enriched us. We also need to reflect on the situations that challenged us, tested us, discouraged us, or maybe even tried to destroy us. Once we have looked over our past travels, we need to take stock of our present situation. What are our inner resources? Do we need to refuel to restore our energy? Are we prepared to continue on the road? Have our spiritual suitcases worn thin with all the clutter that we've stuffed into them along the way? What kind of nourishment will we provide for ourselves as we travel? Do we settle for only junk food for our minds and hearts? Do we need to change our lifestyle to travel or take a new road? Are we moving too slowly or too quickly? Can we risk taking the back roads, the unfamiliar ones, where much hidden or unknown beauty is often found? Are we aware of the people who are on the roads? Do we stop to meet them, listen to them, learn from them? There may have been roadblocks, detours, or dead ends during the past year. We may have felt stuck or lost or as though we were moving backwards. It always intrigues me to see how many people ignore a dead end or a road close sign and still drive on that road, thinking that they can somehow get through. The same is true with our road of life. We can get caught in old destructive behaviors, negative patterns of thinking, or abusive situations. We try to keep these old behaviors and still move on in life, even though they prove to be dead ends and closed roads to personal growth. We may have been on busy highways or fast-moving expressways in the past year. The traffic and busyness within us can lead us to stress and anxiety. We may need to confront something about our whiz on the road of life as we start a new year. Are there areas where we can simplify, have less, or do without, so that our lives are not just a blur of activity? We may have experienced a major disappointment or discouragement on last year's road. We might feel we are now without a destination or have lost our inner road maps. When we look down the road, we have no sense of direction or feel we are going nowhere. It may even seem useless to us to continue on the journey because the road is so beaten up and broken apart. Is there a part of our life that needs to be repaired by hope and a renewed belief in life? Maybe our year has been filled with commuter trains, buses, taxis, or airplanes. We choose to board, but we have to trust another driver with our destination. Sometimes the decisions of others greatly affect our own lives. How do we feel about the choices others have made that affect our work, our hopes, and our dreams? Places in the scriptures are symbolic of our own journeys. The road as an image of the spiritual journey is very evident in both Hebrew and Christian scriptures. The road of faith that Sarah and Abraham traveled, trusting that even in their old age, God still had some marvelous surprises in store for them. The road to forgiveness that led Jacob's son, their brother Joseph. The road through the wilderness as the Exodus people wandered their way to the promised land, God's presence never failing them. The road of justice courageously undertaken by Esther, who risked her life and saved her people from destruction. The crowded road to Bethlehem, vibrant life ready to burst from a young woman's womb. The star-marked road of the wise men, a road that could be traveled only in darkness. The desert road where Jesus met his own struggles and came back with the power of the Spirit in him. The road of the prodigal son, too tired and hungry to do anything except to return to the one place where he had always known. The Galilee road, where burdened bodies and broken spirits felt the touch of compassion through Jesus. The road to Jerusalem, pain-filled, agonizing, with its many moments of loneliness and rejection. The road to Emmaus, traveled by two sad and discouraged disciples, were transformed by a blaze of love, retraced by feet hurried to tell the good news. The road to conversion, where Saul moved from arrogance to surrender. These paths are sometimes our paths. We too have known our times of challenge and of sorrow. We need Abraham and Sarah's faith when we suddenly experience the loss of a well-established job or home, or when we hear the challenge to let go of what has given us security. We are on Joseph's road when we struggle to forgive our siblings or others for hurts of the past. When we make tough choices and fight for the dignity and rights of ourselves and others, we are walking Esther's road. The personal sadness and discouragement we feel from our disappointments in life may be similar to that of the two on the road to Emmaus. We have also known roads of joy. We have our own Bethanies where friends ease the burdens of our inner troubles. The healing journey of Jesus' ministry comes alive for us every time we leave behind an old wound or worn out hurt and discover that we are more at peace with ourselves. We know the Easter road at those times when joy returns to our aching hearts and we are filled and renewed with enthusiasm and hope. In so many ways, we can draw strength from the people who are on the road in the scriptures. As I reflect on my own road of life, I often identify with the risks that the Exodus people had to take in order to move forward in their life. I especially recall one particular January. It was the first day of the new year. I was driving on one of the iciest roads that I had ever traveled. It was a white-knuckle drive. I knew that if I even once hit the brakes, I could sail into the deep ditch. I thought of turning around and going back home, but the family that I was going to visit was one of my favorites. I looked forward to a gathering of laughter and fun, so I decided to keep going, to take the risk of the country road with all its hills and endless curves. Once I made that decision, I felt less stress and could begin to look more closely at the beauty that the ice storm had left. The countryside sparkled. The tree branches glistened. The deep blue sky and the brilliant sun created a crystal world. The more I relaxed, the more I was taken up with the beauty all around me. What started out as a fearful journey ended up as a wonderful ride. As I drove home that evening on the road that had melted and dried, I thought about the icy road. And I reflected on how that first day of the year had been for me. Would the year ahead be a long stretch of icy roads? Would it continually call me to risk a bit so that I could reach a happy destination? Was there something in me that kept trying to take the safe roads instead of taking risks? I realized that those questions were more true than I cared to admit. Not long after this, I discovered an art piece of Mary Engelbrecht's. I smiled at how appropriate it was for my life's journey. The picture showed two roads. A little hobo figure with a small pack is traveling down the road marked Your Life. Behind her is the road from which she has come, and it is labeled No Longer an Option. We can learn from our past, from the roads we have traveled, but if we are to grow, we can only go forward on the road into the future. Whenever we walk into a new year, we are invited to enter into the unknown. We do not know what events will surprise us along the way. We can only see life for today. But we can risk the road because we have the tremendous assurance that God goes with us on the journey. Be confident, for go where you will, your God is with you. Joshua 1, verse 9. As we enter the new year, we trust God with our lives. We trust that there will be enough strength and beauty amidst all the pain to sustain us and to urge us forward. We trust that on this road we will come to greater wholeness and transformation. End of her reflection. Let us join together in singing.